Welcome to Cambridge Forum with Planet Washington, exploring life inside the Beltway with a comedic twist. I'm Pat Zerke, director of Cambridge Forum. The work of government can seem distant, inexplicable, and opaque. There are serious attempts to demystify the political world of Washington, D.C., and then there's comedy. Tonight, Cambridge Forum is turning to comedy with Planet Washington, a duo that promises, if the news breaks, we fix it. Let me introduce our two native informants from Planet Washington, and then we'll move right into their presentation. Ken Rynne is the son of a Boston policeman who admits that music, comedy, and politics were the constant threads of his misspent youth. He left Boston for Washington to attend Georgetown University, which eventually gave him a law degree, as well as a chance to sing with their a cappella choir, the Chimes. Ken went on to work as a congressional aide for Boston Congressman Joe Kennedy, and on the Senate side for Howard Metzenbaum, George Mitchell, and Tom Daschle. At the same time, he continued his song and dance career with the renowned Capitol Steps troupe before striking out on his own with his faithful piano accompanist as Planet Washington. Frank Plumer is that faithful piano accompanist. A musician from the age of 4, Frank is a virtuoso on the piano, accordion, and keyboard, as well as an entertainer for all ages. So, welcome to Cambridge Forum, Planet Washington.
It's Planet Washington. Showbiz for ugly people. Hey, Washington. Where any intern or a senior member can make the press work with just one thong, don't you know? And anybody from any lobby can make a lot of new friends if he has dough. It's Planet Washington, where you're terrific until you're undone. Where big-name White House staff are so excited till they're indicted to join in all of the fun. Come on, step up and try best Congress you could buy. It's Planet Washington. It's Planet Washington. We take no prisoners, but it's just for fun. Come join as we explore those 10 square miles that yield such smiles where all your tax dollars go.
Thank you.
Let go your strife, look for intelligent life.
Good luck.
On Planet Washington. Welcome. Thank you. Well, that's right. Here at Planet Washington, we have a motto: when news breaks, we fix it. Somebody once called Planet Washington Jon Stewart's Daily Show, but with music.
That was me.
Thanks for sharing, Frank. Yes, I'm a recovering staffer and a lawyer. I spent my whole life in politics, whereas Frank has a skill. Whereas Frank spends about 20 minutes a year thinking about politics, and he resents the intrusion. He is what I call our control group in this experiment. Meg Greenfield, the Washington Post columnist, once wrote that Washington, D.C. anthropologically is nothing if not a high school cafeteria with the coolies and the jocks and the nerds. And I would just add to that, a high school with nuclear weapons. So our president, our 44th president, was said to be very perfect, and how are you going to make fun of this man? He speaks in sentences, he has thoughts, he reads books. And then he went abroad to Israel, and he was visiting the Holy Land, and they said, Mr. President, how did you like Bethlehem? He said, I liked it fine. The manger was just as I left it. And then he was in Rome, and he was visiting the Holy Father, and the Holy Father's cap blew off, and President Obama walked across the water to retrieve the cap. And Fox News reported that Obama cannot swim. This is the life. This is the city that I come from. This is the life we live. And our president, during a recent health care conference, press conference that he himself organized, stepped on his own story, as they say. The message of the day was health care, why we need it, why we need reform. And he decided to take up the cause of a local professor and a police officer in some kerfuffle that occurred not far from here. And so we said, well, where else could a president and a professor and a policeman all get together to work out their issues over a beer? Well, this reminded me of an old TV show. All you need is Norm. Coming home from a long lecture tour to find your door is jammed and your oh-so-helpful next-door neighbor has gone and called the man. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name. Have a beer with Barack for free. He doesn't have or need a key. Nobody's here to cast blame. You may achieve some worldly fame, but you're only famous when the Cambridge cops know your name. Sit, boo-boo, sit. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. A new president, exciting, a post-partisan president, a post-stimulus president, and the term shovel-ready came to mind. He was going to change Washington's ways. However, he had to lobby the Republican members of the House personally. Speaking of a beer summit, he had cocktail parties routinely to bring the members of Congress down to sell his stimulus package to bring employment to our $13 trillion economy with $500 billion in spending and $200 billion in cuts to create jobs. But what is it I see in here? Digital television conversion, repairing the turf on the National Mall, contraceptives, stimulus, porculus, Hawaiian ham, some of the Republicans called it. The gotcha journalists, gotcha, they got him. And it may be shovel-ready, but not in such a good way. But the Republicans in the House of Representatives decided to split their votes. They voted no on the stimulus and yes to the cocktails. Something familiar, something peculiar, something for everyone, a stimulus tonight. Something appealing, something appalling, something for everyone, a stimulus tonight. The charmer-in-chief's new Republican chums opposed family planning, pulled out the condoms. Old situations, new complications, new infrastructure that is tight. Deficits tomorrow, stimulus tonight. Billions for banks with their switch and bait. Poor little acorn will just have to wait. Nothing that's formal, nothing that's normal. More cash for clunkers sounds just right. Open up the floodgates, stimulus tonight. Where's Tip and Teddy? Dukakis is ready. Here's something new, the Big Dig Part 2. Deficits tomorrow, stimulus tonight. Plus ça change, plus ça reste la même chose. At least that's what I said in my high school yearbook. The more things change, the higher expensive they get. Okay. What else were we going to do? Healthcare has been in all the newspapers. You might have read about it. And I was trying to come up, as I do, it's my job to read the paper or watch television and set it to music. And I couldn't get anything to rhyme with pre-existing condition And so I took a different tack. I said, there's a subtext to our healthcare debate. If I were a young congressman going to Washington, or a young congresswoman, say Congresswoman Mary Poppins, I would find there's lots of doctors and insurance companies and wonderful nursing homes and hospitals that can contribute to my campaign war chest. I have a new job in Washington who pays $160,000 a year, and I have to raise $5 million a year to keep that job, and I'm in charge of your budget. But there is a story, that's a story or a song for another time. I would say to the president, in every job that must be done, there's an element of fun. You find the fun and snap, the job's a game. And every task you undertake becomes a piece of cake, a lark, a spree. It's very clear to see that a PAC contribution helps health reform stay down. Health reform stay down. Health reform stay down. Just a PAC contribution helps the health reform stay down in the most time-honored way. A robin feathering his nest has very little time to rest while gathering his bits of twine and twig. Though quite intent in his pursuit, he makes time to gather loot. He knows his bill will help him get his fill. For a PAC contribution will keep health reform down, keeps health reform down, health reform down. Just a PAC contribution will keep health reform down in the most time-honored way. The honeybees that fetch the nectar from the flowers to the comb never tire, ever buzzing to and fro. When members' health care bills do show, contributions start to flow, and hence they find fundraising's not a grind. 'Cause everybody's a PAC contribution helps the health reform stay down. The health reform stay down. Health reform stay down. Just a PAC contribution helps the health reform stay down in the most time-honored way. That's it. Well, if this gig doesn't work out, and it's about 50-50, I mean, Frank has a skill, but I'm a lawyer. But we noticed at the airport that there's a very long line. Apart from the TSA line, we go through and we get patted down and frisked. After the second time they recognize you, they don't. But we got through the TSA frisking line at the airport, and the other long line is for a quaint little coffee shop. Maybe you've seen them. And I think that's my best bet for Plan B. That's good. Okay. I thought love was only true in fairy tales, meant for someone else, but not for me. The boss is out to get me. That's the way it seems. Corporate downsize haunted all my dreams. Then I saw Starbucks. Now I'm a barista. Health benefits. Work only part-time. Work 5 to 9. Ooh, I'm a barista. I couldn't leave if I tried. I thought success was more or less a given thing. The more I gave, the less I got. What's the use in trying? All you get is pain. When I wanted sunshine, I got rain. Then I saw Starbucks. I'm a barista. Health benefits. Work only part-time. Work 5 to 9. Ooh, I'm a barista. I couldn't leave if I tried. That's decaf for you, pal. Thank you. Thank you. Well, there was a report that the former Vice President of these United States, Dick Cheney, apart from teaching hunting safety, is writing his memoirs. And for a while there, the man that was the most reclusive VP ever, it seems, and powerful one, he was all over the media. And apparently, Bart Gellman of the Washington Post broke a story that Cheney and Bush in the second term didn't get along that well. According to Gellman, the president said that there would be no more waterboarding and no more secret prisons. The vice president didn't like this. Well, I was sitting at home watching C-SPAN, as I often do, and this song came to mind to discuss this trouble in paradise for Bush and Cheney. No more waterboarding, no more secret prisons. You hardly talk to me anymore when you come through the door at the end of the day. I remember when you couldn't wait to see me, used to hate to leave me. Now, after securing the homeland late at night, when it's good for you and you're feeling all right, when the deciding is over and you turn out the light, you don't let me waterboard anymore. It used to be so natural to talk about forever, but used-to-be's don't count anymore. They just lay on the floor till Barney pulls them away. Bad dog, Barney, bad dog. I remember all the things you taught me, all those things you taught me. I learned how to laugh, whack, and I learned how to cry, whack. Well, I learned how to love power. I already knew how to lie. You don't think I could learn how to tell you goodbye, 'cause you won't let me waterboard anymore. Thank you. It's sad when love goes bad. A couple years ago, when we started 3 years ago, there was a state senator in Maryland, Ben Cardin, who was running for the United States Senate. And Ben acknowledged, as a good politician or any good leader will, that he had some problems and he needed some help. Ben said that he had a personality deficit disorder. He didn't have a personality. And so he did what any wise guy will do. He hired one. And so he went out to Chicago, and he didn't bring in O'Malley, he didn't bring in O'Brien, he brought in a young state senator called Obama. And we wrote this tune, and Ben got the Senate seat, and the other fellow did very well, and we just want to say, you're welcome. I'm just bored with Ben Cardin. Ben Cardin's boring to me. Ben Cardin's bored with Ben Cardin. We need some charisma, please. Call Barack Obama.
Quite right.
Call Barack Obama.
Quite right.
I'm just bored with my party. My party's boring to me. Bill Clinton liven the party. Bring back Miss Lewinsky, or call Barack Obama.
Quite right.
Call Barack Obama.
Quite right.
And they love him out west. Way out west, they got a name for money, press, and power. The money's swag, the presses spin, and the power they call Obama. And in Hollywood, 90210, and in Miami Beach, Barack Obama, tall as the llama, such a campaign, hoy! That was it. And it worked. And the rest is fractured history, yes. Now, there also came a time where our president nominated, he was looking for someone who was very smart, someone who was very educated and experienced, and also someone who had empathy to sit on the Supreme Court. And I did not realize empathy was a four-letter word until the opposition got a hold of it. But the best aspect of the Sonia Sotomayor hearings was listening to the various newsmakers and reporters, members of Congress, butcher that beautiful name. The most beautiful sound I ever heard. Sotomayor, Sotomayor, hold the mayo. Princeton, Yale, 20 years on the Southern District of New York, plus Latina empathy in a single word. Sotomayor, Sunco Mayo, sue the major, sewing major, some explaining sotto voce, Sammy Sosa. I've just found a judge named Sotomayor, and suddenly that name will never be the same to me. Sotomayor nominated a judge named Golda Meir, and suddenly I found how wonderful a sound can be. Sotomayor, say it loud like irate firefighters in New Haven. Say it soft, off-court property, it's like praying. Sotomayor, I'll never stop saying Sotomayor. My nominee has a first name, it's S-O-N-I-A. My nominee has a second name, it's M-A-Y-A-R. 'Cause justice is Wee Yang with Sonia M-A-Y-O-R. Welcome to my world. And you're welcome to it. So I watch a lot of television. I grew up in the 60s, what can I tell you? And I watch a lot of news, and it seems to me that as I've matured to this ripe age, that the media is changing. Well, I read that back in 1932, a New York governor came to Washington, and it was in difficult financial times, the world at war, at the brink of war, and he told the American people, we have nothing to fear but... Oh, this is a good crowd. That's right. No child left behind here. And I think we get a different message from our leaders and from the media today, as cleverly disguised in this song. Be afraid, be afraid. Breaking news means be afraid. If it bleeds, well, then it leads, and that is how your news is made. If you cannot escape, seal your house up in duct tape. Whether man-made or from heaven, show it 24/7. War or twist or nuke, we will show it till you gag. And if you do, we'll make the evening news. Last year the Taliban, now it's back to Iran. Be afraid, be afraid, be afraid. Don't eat cows that are mad. Don't risk eating ones just sad. There are hurricanes and lead-based toys and water that is bad. If cirrhosis you fear, better put away the beer. No more drugs will you be toking, and we thank you for not smoking. Please avoid excess sun. VP Cheney has a gun. Clear?
Clear.
If you feel safe, I'll tell you what to do. If chickens sneeze on you, you get the big bird flu. Be afraid, be afraid, be afraid. From now on, I'll stay home and I won't answer the phone. I will live within my means and I will not take out a loan. I might sneak out at night to avoid their harmful light. I'll stay healthy, never sneeze, pay my bills online with Visa. If I must go outside, use a hybrid for my ride. Watch CNN but not Fox every day. I'll eat organic hay washed down with Perrier. Be afraid, be afraid, be afraid. Boo! Thank you. Smart water, we'll see. Okay, the square root of, okay. The apparently Newsweek a few weeks ago announced that the recession is over. And to quote Forrest Gump, well, that's good, one less thing to worry about. And recently, Ben Bernanke must have got that issue because he says it's over too. But America's been on a roller coaster, and good Lord, my parents used to talk about the Hoovervilles that their parents saw, people living out on the land but not by choice. And even Warren Buffett apparently took a haircut. His Tiffany stock, not so good. Geico stock, better. But if Warren is buffeted, can Jimmy be far behind? Desperate times call for desperate parrots. Nibbling on sponge cake, watching the sun bake. Underemployed with nothing to do. Strumming my sixth string on my front porch, swinging down to my last billion or two. Wasting away again in W's Hooverville. Looking at my near empty vault. Some people say that it's Obama to blame, but I know it's Greenspan's fault. I don't know the reason I invested last season. Nothing to show but this brand new tattoo. But it's a real cutie, a gecko beauty. How it got here, I haven't a clue. Wasting away again in W's Hooverville. Looking at my near empty vault. Some people claim that it's Obama to blame, but I know it's Congress's fault. Oh yes, and some people blame that there's no person to blame, but I know this week it's Acorn's fault. Well, Washington, when I went to D.C., Howard Metzenbaum gave me my first job on the Hill, and at that time, at the news hour, about 6 or 6:30 p.m., I'd go into his office sometimes, and he'd be watching Cronkite or one of the three big networks on the television. I thought going to the Hill was where the decisions are made, where the power is. Here's a powerful senator watching. They're telling us what is important. If it didn't make it onto the big box, it wasn't important. And these days we have many other outlets. Anyway, in Washington recently, the biggest story since the inauguration that got the biggest camera count, the most cameras, was anybody? The selection of Beau Obama as the presidential pet. It's true. Now, presidential pets have a long history of good public relations. Roosevelt had his horse and his guinea pigs, and Carter had Billy, and George Herbert Walker Bush had Dan Quayle, and Poor Dan, it still gets a laugh, so it's still in the show. And for a campaign that was run on a no drama principle, the drama of Beau Obama took Washington by storm. How much is that doggy in the window?
Arf, arf.
The one with the hypoallergenic tail. How much is that doggy in the window?
Arf, arf.
Ask Teddy if that one's for sale. He promised to Sasha and Malia a puppy when the campaign was through. That's one campaign promise he'll be keeping, unless he wants to be neutered too.
Roll.
We don't want a bunny or a kitty. We don't want a parrot that talks. In Washington, you don't want anything that talks. We don't want a bowl of little fishies. A fish makes a bad photo op. Good. Now little Beau can do to the White House lawn what Glenn Beck has been doing to the president. Okay. Ooh, Glenn Beck fans, thank you. Where did we leave off? We have, oh yes, I used to buy these books. Now I wait for them in paperback or magazine outtakes of everyone's memoirs when they leave Washington under various circumstances, either in chains or not, manacles. They write their tell-all book, and Scott McClellan was one of W's press secretaries, and just the title of the book, What Happened? It was What Happened? And the subtitle went on for the back jacket. The subtitle was how these wonderful philosopher kings from Austin, Texas got sullied by Washington ways. And I wonder, where do these people come from, come to Washington? Well, Albany is one of the places they come from. And for example, last year, we were having a very quiet, traditional Valentine's Day celebration, and the governor of New York came to town. Maybe you read about it. Let's tell them about it.
All right.
He was the governor of the Empire State. Valentine's Eve in D.C. with no date. So to the Emperor's Club he had to drop a dime. He booked a date with Kristen for love client number 9. He once crusaded against crime and graft, but now unzipped St. Spitzer feels a draft. He prosecuted Staten Island hookers as well, but got himself in trouble at the Mayflower Hotel. He paid for Kristen to take Amtrak from NYC, outsourcing business, costing local talent their fee. $4,000 or more for just 2 hours of her time. Said he was short on cash.
Amex is fine.
The moral of this sordid tale be known. On Valentine's you shouldn't stray from home. Trouble can come when events like this unfurl and bring together the two oldest professions in the world. Love client number 9. Now serving number 3. Dude. Well, politics, we'll do a couple more and then stop for questions, if any. And remember, this is not a town hall, so be polite. Politics has been a family business. The Kennedy family, the Roosevelt family, and more recent times, the Bush family, the Clintons. And we expect to see more of this. I guess it all began here in Massachusetts with the Adams family. Now, I neglected to say Frank was homeschooled. Good. And, okay, well, let's tell the good folks about it. Clintons, meet the Clintons. They're a modern D.C. family. From the town of Little Rock, or from Parkridge, or from NYC. The Bushes from New Haven, Texas, Maine, got 3 terms. Now the Clintons want the same, or better. When you're with the Clintons, have the yabba-dabba-do time. The White House is mine. We'll have a 4-term time. Chelsea! All that time after school in front of the television has finally paid off. Thank you. So let's do one more. Speaking of the Clintons, the former president, Bill Clinton, has been active in a number of important causes since the end of his terms. Now, recently, he brought some journalists home from North Korea, a regime which generally does not have friendly relations with anybody. Laura Ling and Yuna Lee were pardoned by the North Koreans after being convicted and sentenced for 12 years in a labor camp for entering the country illegally. This was as reported by NBC. CNN reported that we have no diplomatic relations with North Korea. Only a private citizen could go, and therefore the president went. Fox News, their account was that Clinton renounced his citizenship, was born in Pyongyang, and was seen French-kissing Kim Jong-il. The couple will join the military and write their own vows. So it just depends on which news you want to listen to. He's Clinton, Bill Clinton, the most interesting man in the world. There's a man who leads a life of danger. To everyone he meets, no one's a stranger. With every move he makes, another friend he makes. Odds are he could win a re-election. Secret mission man visits the Asian man. They've taken away your office, but they can't take away your name. Two journalists were imprisoned by North Korea. Kim Jong-il said to them, "So glad to see ya. I'm so lonely, if you please. Watch me shoot off my WMDs. And we have work full-time here to employ ya." Secret mission man, little Asian man, they've given away your office and made you borrow a plane. A former president has no real duties. He plays golf or gives speeches for lots of booty. So when Bill Clinton got the call, he didn't drop the ball. Glad to go pick up two Asian cuties. Meanwhile, and just for the record, I did not have diplomatic relations in Korea with that wee man. Secret mission man, former POTUS man, they've taken away your office, but your Facebook friends love you. Hey, all right.
Okay, you're joining us at Cambridge Forum listening to Planet Washington give life inside the Beltway, a musical comedy twist. So while Ken and Frank catch their breath, it's time for you to work, and we'll take some questions from the audience. So if you have a question, please come up to the microphone here at the front and ask the question at the microphone.
Let me cut off one. Frank is married, I'm not.
Okay, so you know whose contact information to ask for. But while you're gathering your thoughts out there, I do have a question. You are post-partisan comedy, you say, but is there what kind of Washington behavior, what kind of Washington people are the easiest and most fun for you to write parodies and songs about?
Oh, that's good. The most fun people are the people that get into trouble, that embarrass themselves. Somebody, John Palmer, asked me on a show I did with him from the Today Show host, John Palmer, he said about the war. He said, is the war funny? And I almost like, ugh. No, I said, but watching people position themselves, we're against the war, but for the troops. I'm against the submarine, I'm for the submarines, but against the missiles. I love the parsing, and if you like words, and I do, and language, you can see it used artfully, and you can see it mangled on a daily basis. Your tax dollars at work, and you can watch it on C-SPAN, as I do. And what I do, though, is I don't go to work. I just am at work, and I start writing about it. So. And thanks to you good folks, it's paying off. So support the Cambridge Forum.
Okay. You are a graduate of Boston Latin School, an illustrious local institution.
Until now.
And we know that you want your name up on the wall next to Leonard Bernstein's. But what was it about your childhood that brought you to comedy?
I have some of my old playmates here today from growing up. My dad was a cop, and part of me thought, like John Adams said, I study war so my children can study philosophy or something like that. With apologies to Adams and the Adams family, not that Adams family. But I was thinking, oh well, I must be a lawyer, and I went on to do that. And then somewhere I realized the old man had this great sense of humor, and once during the anti-war demonstrations in the 60s, late 60s, early 70s, he was stationed at the Marsh Chapel at Boston University. He was a sergeant, and he had a group of men there under him, and they had the riot gear on. He had 474, his badge number on the helmet, and he was doing shtick, all of the Johnny Carson and the Merv Griffin and the Mike Douglas show and all of these comedy shows that would have Borscht Belt comedians. He'd be doing all the shtick for them. When he went to lunch, they started chanting 474, 474, 4. And what are they? What is the problem? He said they want Jack back, and that was one of the I guess the benefits of growing up with a very crazy Boston policeman who also had a wicked sense of humor, so I looked at that side of life. And my buddies and I were just talking. We used to play the Monty Python LPs, and our kids are now listening to the Monty Python CDs, and boy, would it be great to be in that crowd. To have a CD that your kids end up listening to in the next... Ooh, an actual question.
Mine are...
No, this isn't the opening of the symphony. I'm sorry you missed it. That was tonight, but it's...
I'm sorry to disappoint you. I don't have a question. It's more of it's a comment, an observation, and to explain a decision I've been making during the few minutes you've been performing. Over the years, I have struggled with the question of whether a democracy is the best form of government or not, or whether a more authoritarian form of government is better. And much of what I see in Washington pushes towards the latter, the more authoritarian government, because I'm so disappointed at so much I see. But you've convinced me that democracy is better, because in an authoritarian government, we wouldn't have you. So thank you very much for...
Thank you.
For helping me reach this decision. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
We should say something about lobbying and payola at this point, I think.
For the radio listeners, I just gave him a $1,000 check. Yeah, if authoritarian government would be great as long as I were the authority.
You alluded to this as you started talking about Barack Obama, and people have asked you, and can you give us a fuller answer? How do you make fun of Barack Obama? I mean, he's new and he doesn't have a long record yet. What are the entry points to making a parody of him?
I was talking to Mark Russell about this, and he was saying, again, with Will Rogers did this too, on Coolidge and the others,
you go for, the truth. I think what makes it funny is if you go for the truth of the person. This is unusual to be actually talking about it instead of just doing it. But Barack Obama is such a student and so cool that you just, you go to the nth degree and say, okay, he goes to Bethlehem, so, you do the God jokes. That's, some yucks. And that's it. And we try and we don't go negative. It's if I have one joke in there about a Republican, like I did the joke in the first half about Eliot Spitzer, who, the governor from New York, and in fact, actually, I think the president may appoint Eliot to be his prostitution czar to look into this Acorn thing, but just think, if Acorn had changed their name to AIG, they could be pimping the federal government for billions instead of a couple thousand. But I digress. Sir.
Have there been any political events in recent years that were simply too ridiculous for you to even make fun of?
Wow, you don't want to be cruel. We try not to be cruel. There was a spate there where several legislators who were living in a group called the C Street House. They happened to be, except for I think one Democrat, they happened to be Republicans and conservatives, and the stated purpose of this house was to monitor and support each other in their values. And of course, they're all divorcing their wives and running away they're all hiking the Appalachian Trail. And it's the only men's club in Washington that has a resident gynecologist, which is Senator Tom Cochrane. I don't know what that's all about, but I certainly wouldn't want to make fun of them. I mean, if I did that in my regular show, 2 or 3 people might walk out, but I try and keep it even-handed.
We'll take your question, and then we're going to make them work again.
Oh. Make it a long question, please.
This is a short question. I gather that your politics have moved to the left since you first went to Washington. Is there a right-wing comic like you? I mean, do you have that kind of enemy out there? And who are they?
There is a right-wing comic, but he and Laura are living in Dallas now. My nephew was talking about Ron Paul the other night, and I said, I love Ron Paul. The older I get, the more libertarian I get. Like, just stay away, leave me alone, keep the taxes down, and I love his wife's fish sticks.
Okay,
No? Wrong one?
well,
Okay.
the right-wing comic has gone back to Dallas, but we are going back to Planet Washington.
Thank you. In the last few months of President W's term, we thought, instead of playing Hail to the Chief when he entered or exited a room or just checked his watch, apparently, they would play Hail to the Chief. Because of his outspoken need to be the decider, he would decide when Rumsfeld goes. He would decide when Cheney goes. He would be the decider on Brownie doing a heck of a job. That instead of Hail to the Chief, we would do the following song when the president arrived. Oh, yes, I'm the great decider. Deciding that I'm doing well. We caught Saddam, but Bin Laden's on the lam. I decided the surge is going well. Oh, yes, I'm the great decider. Adrift in a world of my own. If you're not neocon, then you soon will be gone. Colin Powell, we had to put down
Too real is this feeling of make-believe. Too real what I feel, what my staff can't conceive. Oh, yes, I'm the great decider. Laughing and gay like a clown, but straight. My need is such, I decide too much, and pretending I'm wearing the crown. But only when Cheney's not around. Well, the other big name in the Republican circles these days who's getting a lot of money speaking to some derivative people this weekend is Sarah Palin. Boy, to be a fly on that wall. But she left with guns blazing. My favorite bumper sticker in Washington is Sarah Palin for President 2012 to 2013. Maureen Dowd, who used to sharpen her saw on W, has now found Sarah Palin, saying that with Sarah's paranoia and disdain for the media, she's basically Richard Nixon with hair extensions. And recently, Sarah acknowledged she was bipolar. She's been to Antarctica and Alaska. But we wrote a tune. We were in the airport leaving Denver, and at the Democratic Convention, and saw the news, as everyone did, that this governor of Alaska was appointed. And so we started writing this, and we've updated it since several of the recent big names have, in the Republican side, have dropped away. And so we think we'll see more of Miss Palin. A lipstick-wearing hockey mom was still Sarah Palin. She came just in time when John McCain's campaign was ailing. A small-town western woman with big talk about impaling. A lipstick-wearing hockey mom was still a Sarah Palin. Diddle-diddle-diddle, diddle-I, diddle-diddle-diddle-I. Maverick needed to make sure his base was staying with him. He couldn't pick Joe Lieberman. His right would not permit him. When Hillary did not get picked, McCain looked at some women. A pro-life, pro-gun, programmable woman shorter than him. He picked a lipstick-wearing hockey mom was still Sarah Palin. She came just in time when John McCain's campaign was ailing. A small-town western woman with big talk about impaling. A lipstick-wearing hockey mom was still Sarah Palin. Republicans were looking for a leader to believe in. Obama was too popular, Republicans were grieving. And one by one, male candidates exploded and were leaving, which left one choice for 2012, one person to believe in, namely, a lipstick-wearing hockey mom was still Sarah Palin. She came just in time when John McCain's campaign was ailing. A small-town western woman with big talk about impaling. Lipstick-wearing hockey mom was still Sarah Palin. Nice lady. She's the most popular Republican woman, the most popular Republican woman in the past administration, a class act, was the Secretary of State, Condoleezza Rice, and we never knew if she did anything other than work out with the president and play the piano and shop. And then on one trip to Canada, she was with the foreign minister of Canada, and they were seen kind of having a tete-a-tete, and ooh, the rumor mill in Washington, ooh, nothing better than a good rumor. Of course, it could be true, but still it's good. And so this song we penned for Condoleezza. Condoleezza, Condoleezza, George Bush named you to be the first of diplomats at state. Is it only that you're lonely they have blamed you for that dominatrix cadence in your gait? Do you smile to tempt a lover, Condoleezza? Or is this your diplomatic way to hide
Many lovers have been brought to Foggy Bottom. They just lie there, and they die there. Are you warm? Are you real, Condoleezza? Or just a Ferragamo-wearing work of art? Now they say a foreign minister you're seeing. Will Canadian bacon cure a lonely heart? Will you now decide on weekend vacations, canoodling on weekends and vacations? Are you warm? Are you real, Condoleezza? Or just a pianoforte playing? Of art, Condoleezza, Condoleezza. Thank you. Frank Plumer, ladies and gentlemen. Keyboard. And he's doing it all without a pedal. No, you got the pedal? Good, okay. Thought you left it in the plane. Okay, we're back. I used to be in the energy business, and in those days, actually I bought natural gas for clients from a group called Enron when they were selling natural gas, not just hot air. And then there was another fellow who used to buy oil and oil futures and shale, and T. Boone Pickens. And then one night I'm watching late night TV, and after all the ads for all those products I don't need, on came T. Boone selling a new product, and Let's put it to music here. Come and listen to a story about a man named Boone. He once drilled for oil under every rock and dune. And then one day when the oil wasn't there, he looked in the sky and he discovered air. Renewable, invisible, free. Well, the first thing you know, Boone's selling us the air. The oil men scoffed, said, there is no there there. They said that Boone's just shooting us the breeze. The next thing you know, he'll be hugging trees. So now it's time for Boone to ask you all to join his plan. The folks who know him well will tell you Boone is still the man. He'll sell us all the turbines, power lines through hills and dales. If he were pushing water, he'd be selling us the pails. If he were pushing water, he'd be selling us the pails. Woo! Thank you. Oh. 1-800 and grinning. Well, when we started out, there was a story about the largest employer in the United States, the largest private employer, and I couldn't believe who it was. You know who it is. You're a smart crowd. Walmart, okay. And I said, well, everyone's shopping there. A lot of folks are working there. What next? And so we wrote the following tune. When I need a shovel or a brand new suit of clothes, there's one-stop shopping at a place everybody knows. I shop at Walmart to buy my teddies, tools, and tires. At the snack bar with my baby, that's where I'll be.
I go to Walmart
for shoes and socks.
I go to Walmart
for watches and clocks.
I go to Walmart
for crackers and cheese.
I go to Walmart
for my BVDs. I go to
Walmart.
When the plant shut down, they moved production overseas. I got a job in sales. I sell imported clothes and cheap TVs. Now I work at Walmart, where I sell cameras and VCRs. If it ain't made in China, that's news to me.
I go to Walmart
to buy a phone,
I go to Walmart.
for a subprime loan,
I go to Walmart.
for a new backpack,
I go to Walmart.
for my Prozac.
I go to Walmart. Walmart.
When I fell behind, they took the credit cards and house away. I looked in vain for a decent place, my dog, my kids, my wife, and me to stay. Now I live at Walmart, between the housewares and the sporting goods. The cooking breakfast on the Coleman, that's where I'll be.
I go to Walmart.
724,
I go to Walmart.
park right by the door.
I go to Walmart.
They got a photo place.
I go to Walmart.
I wear a smiley face. I go to Walmart, Walmart. Yes, I do. Well, what kind of people do we write about? The ones that get in the news, mainly. There was a senator going home, and he had to stop and change planes, and he went to Minneapolis. I'm sure he wished he went to Denver now, by way of Denver, but he stopped in Minneapolis, and he's written a book about it now, his memoirs. The working title, Boise Will Be Boise. At least the next time, he won't have to ask for paper from the guy in the next stall. Anyway, and it goes something like this. He was the family values senator from Boise way. He had a right-wing stance, and then one fateful day when he just had to do his thing. While changing planes, he stalled. He was caught in a sting. He's in the tabloids now. He's lost his reverie. He's the toe-tapping senator of Terminal B. Said he was guilty just to make him go away. He said he is not now, nor has he been gay. The cops just couldn't understand that he likes a clean stall, cleans a stall with his hand. He's in the tabloids now, he's lost his reverie. He's the toe-tapping senator of Terminal B. A tap, a Italia tap, it taps him 8 to the stall.
In Boogie Boise.
He can't take a wind, riding a wide stance beneath him. And the cops disturbed his reverie. He's the toe-tapping senator of Terminal B. Thank you. Oh, Lord. Well, we got a few more tunes, and in this little magazine of Washington, we can't cover it all, but I'm going to say, what would Washington, D.C. be without the pundits? It would be Baltimore. Yeah, it'd be a nice place. Yeah. Right by the water. So we pay tribute, sort of, to the #1 conservative commentator, the man whom liberals love to loathe. And although Ann Coulter is closing in fast, she's #2, and you can tell her I said so. Let's sing about the Limbaugh Rock. Every Limbaugh word he spews gives us all the Limbaugh views. Gonna do the Limbaugh song just to show how Limbaugh wrong. Michael Fox, he is real sick. Rush, he say it liberal trick. Making fun the Limbaugh grins, making fun of Parkinson's. Limbaugh low, Limbaugh lower now. How low can he go? He made fun of quarterback, said it was because he black. Limbaugh tossed by Monday night, but he say he still is right. All Rush Limbaugh, don't shut up, don't matter, he be one sick pup. Limbaugh must offend that true, because listeners expect him to. So listen to the Limbaugh views, listen to the hate he spews. The only states he loves are red, and Democrats, if good, are dead. Then feminazis must relock, then curl he back under the rock. But Limbaugh, he is not amused by jokes on him, pills he abused. Don't blame that Limbaugh man. He be nothing without the fan. How low can he go? How low can they go? How low can I must go? Okay.
See it? Little dark, little dark. Okay, and we'll do one more, and then we'll subject us to those hard-hitting questions again. You lie! Oh, no, sorry, okay. So everyone comes to Washington, and they say they're going to change the way things are done. They're going to change the money game. They're going to get rid of the special interests. Well, I used to work for one of those special interests, and I can tell you something. They're still there. And so, without putting too fine a point on it, there's a little tune about the job I used to have. Well, I'm the type of guy who will never settle down. Wherever members are, you know that I'm around. Republicans or Democrats, to me they're all the same. I fund them, I squeeze them, they pretend to know my name. They call me a lobbyist, yeah, I'm a lobbyist. I roam around. We try and do a show that everyone can enjoy. There's just too much, negativity out there. Everyone goes right for the jugular, and on Facebook. Facebook, by the way, join our Facebook, Planet Washington Facebook. We only have 600 friends. We need more friends. Okay. Yes, you're a lovely lady. Who did that to your arm? I'm a lawyer. Here, let me give you my card.
Sue the kayak.
A kayak? What about the manufacturer? Was there a flaw in the design? Where was it? On the Charles River? City of Boston, Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Good. Deval, take my call. Okay.
So I wanted to know about the sort of serious side of satire. It's fabulous to listen to, and it's hilarious, and yet it has this long and glorious tradition of actually making change. So I'm wondering, when you're in Washington, when you're talking to people, the people you're actually making fun of, who sometimes really need to be made fun of, do they stop and think? Can they take it? Do they take themselves too seriously sometimes? What goes on when you meet with these people?
Yeah, it's a funny thing. It's a funny thing about we're talking about democracy, because it's kind of like growing up. Well, there are some bad cop got in the news. Well, there are good cops and bad cops. Boom, boom, boom. There's and there are good Pauls and bad Pauls. There are some that take themselves way too seriously, and some that don't. Orrin Hatch. I mean, if you watch the Kennedy wake, Senator Kennedy's thing at the library, you got a sense of the man that I saw when he and my boss, Metzenbaum, were across the hall from each other. Totally disagree with him on just about any political issue, policy issue, but as a human being and as a guy with a great sense of humor and has a good sense of himself, that he's not all that, And there are others who I love their policy positions, but they think they're all that, and I'm not going to name them for any amount of money. Uh-oh, here comes a ringer. Front row.
Is this okay? You've been talking about the role of lobbyists, which is a challenge for our democracy. And often we hear details of how much money each legislator receives from companies and so on. But for the campaigns, there has been a limit. But now, if I'm understanding correctly, the Supreme Court has said we're intruding on the free speech of the corporate person to limit that they should be able to give any amount of money to a candidate, even though people don't really have that at this time. But I'm just wondering, how much worse can it get? I mean, what can you imagine what the effect of that will be? Any comment?
Well, I'm just a comedian. I think it'd be great for my business, but it would be horrible for the Republic, probably. But yeah, Buckley versus Vallejo was the case when I was in law school. I think it's still good law. Corporations as persons have this First Amendment right, and so the money keeps flowing. I guess Jefferson and others said, sunlight, the sunlight of disclosure, government in the sunshine, full disclosure, or the buzz phrase these days, what is it, transparency, so that you can at least go on to one of the websites that's out there and see who, followed the dollars, in the words of Deep Throat. So you at least you can see where the money's going. It's gotten better, I think, but it's still there, and it's corrosive. Lord Acton, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And that's not funny, so I usually don't use this stuff in my show. But yeah, but there's a serious side of it. Mark Twain, apparently the Globe liked that quote. I have that in your brochure, that Twain said the most effective weapon for the citizen is laughter. And the Romans had their juvenal, their satirists, and the early republic had pamphleteers and others who, as the earlier gentleman said, yeah, we've got free speech, thank God for the right to criticize our government. In the old Soviet Union, they had the two-party system, the Communist Party and the Going Away Party. Okay, I got out of that one, all right. You tried to pull me down. It's serious stuff. My job is just to kind of lighten the load a little bit, but there are good folks down there at some of the good public interest groups that are fighting it. And there's, with the internet, with all these sources of information now, some of it true, you have a lot of information on who's getting the money. And there's a lot of sources, the internet is like taking my kid to Penn Station in New York and saying, okay, here's all these wonderful museums and libraries, and there's some not so good places too. So there's some good data out there that wasn't there 10 years ago. Like I found out some of my friends' salaries. They called it the envy book. In the Senate, it's the secretary's report, and in the House, it's the clerk's report. And you could find out what people are making, what all the staffers are making, and find out who's got the SWAT.
Calling once, calling twice. One last question. Or otherwise, I'll ask a last question. Aside from being paid and making a living, what do you hope to accomplish? What is your big goal with comedy?
That's a good one. Making a living at what I do, it's funny. And as a 20 or 30-year-old, I had one idea, and I think a lot of people I talk to have one idea of what they want to do, and then over time, you change. I mean, I've had so many jobs in there in the program. I'm going for a record, but this one, just doing what I met a guy named Mark Russell when I was with the Capitol Steps, and I said to him, when I grow up, I want to be you. And he said, well, that can't happen soon enough. And he has since become a friend. He just came back from a show in Utah the other night and gave me a call, tell me how the show went, and talked about this show, what I was going to do. And Utah, I said, yeah, in Utah, they want statehood out there now. You understand? They want statehood. They got polygamy and they want statehood. I said, why don't we trade them Texas? Okay. But I would like, there's a career path, that he's done television, he's done shows, he's traveled around, he gets to, make fun and not hurt people, but raise them up a little bit, because I think the comedy comes from truth, and it comes from it's the Shakespearean, Lord, what fools these mortals be, whether they have D's or R's affixed to their name. Aren't we, we're foolish, that we, people in tense situations doing silly things. And boy, if I can pay my overhead doing that, I would keep doing that. I've got the microphone-itis now, but there's one final line. Popeye Doyle in The French Connection said, I'd rather be a light pole in New York than president of France. I love that. I'd rather be doing this than anything else.
Okay. And now, as we promised, Cambridge Forum prides itself on being a participatory activity. So usually our participatory activity is folding up the folding chairs, which aren't here. So we have something else for you to do tonight.
Thank you. If you turn to the back of your missalette, no, the back of your program, We have 4 hymns, and for you Catholics, this does not count as Mass. But we have four little tunes we'd like to do. This first one, Happy Days Are Here Again, is Mark Russell's theme, and the Democrats often appropriate it. Milton Ager, a fellow, wrote this in 1929, and I was thinking, Milt, Happy Days, 1929? Apparently, early 29 was pretty good, and that's when he wrote it, so that explains that. So let's do it, and it's mostly the original lyrics with the little Washington, Planet Washington flavor. Happy days are here again, the skies above are clear again. Let us sing a song of cheer again. Happy days are here again. All together shout it now, there's no one who can doubt it now. So let's tell the world about it now. Happy days are here again. It's safe for lawyers and quail. Dick Cheney's guns are for sale on eBay. Happy days are here again. The skies above are clear again, and our soldiers will be here again. Happy days are here again. I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, a Yankee Doodle do or die, a real live nephew of my Uncle Sam, born on the 4th of July. I've got a Yankee Doodle sweetheart, she's my Yankee Doodle joy. Barack Obama came by Amtrak just like old Abe Lincoln. I am that Yankee Doodle boy. You're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave, the Boston Braves. Every heart beats true from the red, white, and blue, where there's never a boast or brag. Should waterboarding be forgot, keep your eye on the grand old flag. And now the political satirists' national anthem. These are the lost verses that Pete Seeger did not do at the inaugural. He did the first 52 verses. This land is your land, this land is my land, from the fewer red states to the growing blue states, from the Starbucks patrons to the Walmart shoppers. This land's still made for you and me. Some came from Ireland, they brought potatoes. Some came from Burma, they brought tomatoes. Some jalapeno for Lou Dobbs from Mexico. Don't think so, this salsa was made for you and me. Some came from Russia, they brought the vodka. Some from Jamaica, they brought the rum, yam, the beer and pretzels. They come from old Bavaria. This hangover was made for you and me. Take it home, kids. Some fled the old world, their freedom to seek and not be bullied or made to act meek. To live where free speech is a patriotic act. And this land was made for you and me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Planet Washington, Ken Rynne, and Frank Plumer. You've been listening to Planet Washington, Life Inside the Beltway, featuring Ken Rynne and Frank Plumer, recorded by Cambridge Forum in September 2009, and co-sponsored by the Massachusetts Cultural Council, the First Parish in Cambridge, and the Friends of Cambridge Forum. For a CD of this program or for information about our ongoing radio series or our Forum Network webcasts, visit us on the web at cambridgeforum.org. In Harvard Square, I'm Pat Zerke. Thanks for joining us. And I hope you all can join us on Monday, October 5th, for our next forum, when Andrew Basevich and Charles Sennett revisit Afghanistan.
Those guys are hilarious.